Hey, this is Sir Charles Carey. I want you to join me on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. for the TRU-MU Podcast, True Music. That's where we talk about all things.
I'm a musician, singer-songwriter, producer, engineer.
All things creative.
Me and my co-host, Carl T. Smith, the smooth one, will be glad to hear you, glad to talk to you, answer your questions, and talk all things music. The TRU-MU Podcast, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Be part of the energy.
I can see that thing that makes men stop, stand still, all in denial, suffer loss of will.
No volume. I don't hear you.
Coming to you live again with volume from the nation's capital and from New York City. Now it's Saturday night. It's Tuesday. And it's time for the TRU-MU Podcast. It's time for the true music, true creativity, true innovation. And that's what we're going to talk about today. As we do every week. Last week we had a wonderful guest, as we do many of our episodes. We had Roz. And Raza was a true creative in a sense, photographer, videographer, interviewer, creative artist. I mean, I just found the discussion quite interesting. And I went to his website afterwards, and I was truly intrigued by his content and the way that he puts it together. And I found myself watching, he had these mini episodes about his journey. And episode after episode, I just found myself drawn in, and I commend him completely on his approach. Nothing like a creative doing what they do and getting the kind of response. I'm sure he would have appreciated that. So, Carl, how you been, man?
So far, all right.
Man, I was telling you before we went live, I'm spilling over into your side of things. And what I mean by that is the audio side of things. I had a gig, had a couple of gigs last week. On the second gig, the drummer I mic'd up his bass drum, and because I didn't stay on top of the EQ, it busted my PA system. The rims of both woofers, I had to check because I wasn't sure at first, were burst. The seal was busted on each one, and I was like, wow, oh man, what am I gonna do about that? So of course, you have to replace it. And I ordered replacements, but they were too big, so I went back in to order 2 more replacements, which I should get tomorrow, and hopefully they will be the right size, and I'll be able to replace them, because I've never done this before. So actually, I'm really kind of excited and interested if it's going to work, because I've never done it before. Perfectly good Yamaha cabinets, and I hate to throw the whole thing away when you got a perfectly good cabinet. So I was smart enough to know that part.
Don't throw it away. Don't throw it away.
Yeah. Got the drill out, took the grill off, checked the speakers, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is what it looks like inside after 10 years of never having to need to do it. So all dusty and dirty looking inside, but you know what? We're gonna make it work. I like the fact that I like the fact that I had the extra gear too. Sure.
Yeah.
I think those that PA has traveled with me across the DMV. For live shows, all kinds of events that I've done. I mean, on the speaking side, the music side, I mean, it's just been, as you know, nothing like having your own gear. What are your thoughts about having your own equipment?
It's overrated.
I didn't expect that from you, really.
Yeah, it's overrated. Well, first of all, I mean, if you have it, it's great, but if you have it, then that means that you're the first to go in and the last to leave. It means you're the, you know what I'm saying? Ability is a blessing and a curse. So what happens is, you end up, not only do you start early and you set up everything, and then you go through the thing, and then you perform, and then and then after your performance, usually, famous guys like you got to meet and greet the people and stuff like that. And then after you meet and greet the people, now you wore out, now you turn around and there they are looking dead at you like, you got to take me apart. You got to
all the equipment, right?
Yeah, that's right. You got to take me
and
apart.
what about when people say, "Can I help you?"
Listen, the lesson learned is this: people always volunteer some help. They'll be there in the beginning, but once the show is over, they disappear. So
And even then, they mean well, but they don't know how to do it the way it should be done in a lot of cases too.
Well, that too, that also, but the fact that at the end of the night, when you wore out, you tired, you barely dragging, they're gone. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's gone.
I tell you, and that's exactly what happened. And look, I thought that. See, what did happen? I think actually when I came back home and did the show with you in New York, it was kind of a similar thing. All I had to bring was my clothes and my MP3 player, right? So I figured, great, I ain't got to carry no gear. It's an easy show.
Yeah, lucky you.
You had to do all the heavy lifting.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
When the performance overall was over, you greeted the fans and we hobnobbed with each other a little bit. I got home, to the hotel. I was still wore out. I was wore out.
Oh, yeah.
And even here, after the wedding, because it was in my community, I said, well, this is great. The guys will come, they'll bring their equipment, and we'll do the performance. After the performance, I'll be so close to home, it won't be no big deal. All I got to do is bring out my PA system. I was all excited. I set it up. I was being Mr. Host. Hey, guys, go have some coffee, some tea, and some water. I got refreshments. All that happened. And then when it was over, I looked at these big behind PA systems on stands that I got to unhook, unplug.
That's right.
And I was like, my back was like, can we stop now? And I was like, nah, I can't leave y'all outside.
Can't stop now.
Because it was an outside event. So as the title of today's episode is What's Up Lately? And that's what's up lately, first time really going behind the scenes from the, I guess you could say, technical, or getting my hands dirty with the PA system, fixing a PA, or potentially trying to fix the PA, and being my own grip and my own roadie, but I'm used to that, even though it don't feel good. I'm just ignorant slave to the process.
It don't feel good.
I mean, you already know.
It don't feel good.
Look, packing up your gear so that it doesn't get banged up properly, putting it in the case if you do have a case. If you don't have a case, carrying it in a way that nothing falls on it, nothing gets damaged. If you do have cases, making sure everything's in the right case, your cables are folded properly, your adapters are in the right sec. Oh my goodness, please. Yeah, man. So, in other news, have you seen Michael yet?
No.
Will you see it at some point?
Probably not.
Really?
Probably.
Well, just because you grew up in that era, you don't want to see it?
No.
You got a problem with Jermaine? You don't like his hairstyle either?
Tito is the problem. Tito, no. No, I guess it's pretty much more so focused on trying to get, other things done and stuff like that. So, leisure time is a rarity these days when you're trying to yeah, when you're trying to pull so many things together, So,
Hence your new
you know,
project that you're preparing to put out, right?
the project, the whole, the whole focus on what we're gonna, what's gonna happen and stuff like that. So, finding the time to do it will be, is to go and to sit still for, I don't know, was it 2 hours or something like that? Because hour and a half, yeah, and then I done saw like didn't I see like 3 or 4 Michael Jackson stuff already?
Oh, I don't know. Oh, Jackson's over the years there with
Yeah,
Lawrence
the
Hilton
Jacksons.
Takeoff.
You had I done seen a whole bunch of them. I lived the
I
life. I know
thought,
what they
look,
did.
not only did we live through it, I thought about that on my way to the theater, to be honest with you. And I was like, they're not gonna reveal anything you don't know, regardless whether it's done well or not. But because I am a Jackson fan, and I just I caved under the pressure, Carl. Come on, man, it's not my fault.
It's a good pressure. It's a good pressure to cave under. It's a great pressure to cave under. It's just, and then it's I just think it's I probably will see it at some point, but it's new. Everybody's running to see it. I don't want to stand online. You know what I mean? It's I probably can tell you most of the story already. Joe Jackson, and the whole fight with what is it, Jermaine?
Get Jermaine on the phone. Tell him Carl's going to see it, but just not right away. I'm sorry.
Yeah, tell Jermaine. Tell Jermaine I'm going to check it out. Tell Randy. Tell them all. Yeah, no, but yeah. I mean, at some point, I know I'm gonna see it. Because at some point,
I get it.
They're gonna put it on everything at some point. Right now they just gotta, it's brand new. So yeah.
But the funny thing is, it kind of, now that I'm thinking about it and we're speaking on it, it reminds me of when Michael was alive, and it would say, I think it was called Jackson Mania. People were going crazy. And the reason why, because I've seen several posts on social media with people with the jackets and the hat. And I'm like, wow, they're really going into this like, okay. And I commend them, because they were, even though they were a big part of our history, even though it may not be historically important per se, but they still were part of our history growing up music-wise.
I think they were inspirational. No, they was historically important. I mean, they shaped because it was because of him. MTV started playing other types of music. You know what I'm saying? So historically,
yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that he has done that people don't know about.
True. That's true. I guess I was thinking from perspective of helping the world and wars and things like that. But from a creative part, yeah, it was historically significant. But yeah, I definitely agree, because I remember the time when they said that, I don't know, it wasn't Tommy, I think it was I forget the guy's name from CBS, told him if he didn't play Michael's song, he would pull all those other CBS artists off of MTV. And before you know it, they had reshaped how MTV did things. Yeah. Getting off or something like that, whatever his name was. But yeah, man, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was well done. It wasn't cheesy. In fact, I'll just won't share any spoilers. We already know the stories, but while watching the movie, I was kind of like really digging in mentally and watching every little nook and cranny. And there was a couple of sections where this little kid in front of me jumps up with the Thriller jacket and starts dancing, and his mom puts the phone on and the light on him, and people in the movie theater were like laughing. I'm like, what are they laughing at? I was so into the movie, I could have reached out and touched the little boy, but I didn't even realize initially what they were laughing at, this little kid was doing all the moves, and I said, don't say anything, Charles, because who knows? This little kid may grow up to be a Michael Jackson of his own sort, and who don't step on another kid's dreams. But
plus he was enjoying the movie. Yeah.
Yep, and trying to do everything he felt he could to emulate what Michael Jackson was doing. So so again, this goes to show you when Michael died was 2009, 2000, I think. So 16 years later, whatever the case may be. And wow. I think Michael's been dead longer than the kid is old. But that's not the type of impact. Because this kid had to be like 9, maybe 10. Excuse me. But yeah, well done. Kudos to Jermaine and some of the other family members that were behind it. And of course, people that were not family members that put this production together. But I was going to ask you, today YouTube is such a big thing, man. Do you or have you really gone to YouTube to now look, go from this high, now I'm probably going down now. Do you ever or have you ever gone to YouTube for like the purpose of tutorials for music or for anything? Is that something you've done?
I live on YouTube. You kidding me?
Really? Me too. Okay.
I literally live on YouTube. So I was thinking about this yesterday when I was working on some stuff. When I was working on some things before, I did the best I could with what I had at the time, and I've seemed to always ride the wave. Whatever's coming out, whatever tools are used, I usually ride the wave. And I was thinking, like, the stuff that's available now, if I had it before when I was doing all that stuff, because most of it was hit and miss, trial and error, that kind of thing. And I was doing stuff that it didn't fall through, but it just didn't happen only because I didn't know what to do next. Because I'm one of those guys that, like my daughter says, I just do it. You know what I'm saying? I just go ahead and do it. So I was thinking about that, and everything. I mean, most of the time, if there's something that I gotta try to understand, or something that I think I need to check out or learn, I'm on YouTube, and I could be on there 6 a.m. and till about 4 the next morning, because I'm working and doing some stuff. And that's why right now I gotta redo the work that I thought I was like, okay, I'm done, I'm going to put this out. But now I gotta redo this stuff because I've figured out some stuff that I learned from YouTube.
Yeah, I'm with you. There are days when I spend more time on YouTube than any other app or cable network or whatever, because I can get everything. I can learn, I can be entertained, I can hear gossip, I can listen to music, I can watch a movie. I mean, YouTube is, and all to say is all that, so yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the new network. That's the new, that's where everything is. That's where you would find YouTube. That's just a fraction of what's out there. It's just the whole internet.
So let me actually. Well, they say it's the biggest search engine in the world. So,
Google, second biggest. Yes.
Okay.
Google's first. Which Google owns. Google owns YouTube, but Google's first.
So okay, yeah. So have you ever considered yourself, because you've been in the business for a long time, from many perspectives, as an artist, as a songwriter, as a producer, as an engineer, I can run I guess I can run out of words as an instrumentalist. You know, you ever thought about having a channel about certain things yourself?
Yeah, I did.
Prevented you?
Say that again.
What has prevented you from moving forward? Is it time or structuring it out, or you know, what is?
Pretty much time. You know, because there's always something that I'm trying to work on and trying to do, and a lot of it is you got to dedicate quite a bit of time to it in order to make it happen. It just doesn't happen like I probably thought years ago. You know, you just do it and then it's good, you know, and it works. But it takes time. You know, you got to put in time and work, and like anything else, and it just doesn't happen right away.
Man, you ain't never lied. I remember. I mean, of course, I've done several things on YouTube or for YouTube, but in addition to a podcast, I remember once I shot a video called "A Day in the Life of a Speaker" because, you know, I do keynotes and workshops, right? So I went from getting up, maybe looking like this. Okay, so going to my closet, looking for the suit, looking for the shirt, matching the tie, laying it out, getting the bag if I was going to, you know, take a flight, the bag and how to pack my stuff. Then I had to find me or footage of me going to the airport, and maybe even footage of me walking into the room that I'm going to do my speech and my keynote address, and finding all of the components, shooting them, capturing them right, editing them right, music if I needed it, intro, outro, transitions, and then finally putting it on YouTube for maybe a, I don't know, 3-4 minute video.
Yeah,
it's a lot just for 3 or 4 minutes, you know.
Yeah, so it's 8 months worth of work and preparation for a 3-minute video.
Yeah.
If that long. Yeah. Well, it's just like an event. It's just like a show. You know, the audience come in, they sit down and they enjoy an hour and a half show, you know, whatever the case may be. But just on that day, you know, especially some of the stuff that I'll be doing, we're there like 6 a.m, and all the way up until the audience come. And then when the audience, you know, after the show, you know, we gotta, like I was talking earlier, you gotta tear it down. So it's like a 18-hour to 20-hour day for an hour and a half.
Energy for the performance, Carl. What about that part?
Where can I buy some? Is there somewhere to buy some? I've been trying to buy some for the longest.
It's called Red Bull.
Red Bull, no, that ain't gonna do it. You need something stronger.
I'll tell you, Red Bull, be honest with you, I do drink those drinks sometimes, but I really shouldn't do it before a performance for me personally, because it makes my throat dry, makes me thirsty. Then of course I'm going to go to the bathroom. Now, if I do it earlier enough in the day, maybe I can perform and burn off the fumes, off the excess. But yeah, I know what you mean, man. It's just so much prep for a short period of time of the performance or the video, whatever you're trying to do. Yeah, it's a lot. So inquiring minds wanted to know, what's the title of your upcoming project, your new album?
Love Light.
Love Life?
Love Light.
Oh, Light. Okay, nice. Lite?
Lite. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Nice. So, you know, I know quite a while ago, you and I, we're moving on. We're talking about a lot of tech stuff. We're talking about, you know, things that are happening now, folks. So if you're just jumping on, this is the TRU-MU Podcast, and we're talking about what's up lately. So we've spoken about the Michael movie, of course, the story of Michael Jackson, which has been out in different forms over the past 15, 20 years, I'll just say, done different ways by different people. But there seems to be a new craze over the current one, which I saw personally, and in my opinion, just my opinion, it was done very well. But people are dressing up and dancing in front of the posters and doing all sorts of things, just like they did when Michael Jackson was alive. And I'm excited for the family. I wish them continued success. Carl and I are familiar with those times, those stories, those generations, because they were times that we grew up in. But and we're also talking about other things like YouTube. We just finished wrapping up talking about YouTube, and I recently heard that AI. Some people said that AI is going to be dying soon. What are your thoughts on that, Carl?
AI is not going to die. It's going to do just like everything else. It's going to transform into something else, or upgrade to something else. But I don't think so. I think it's matter of fact, a lot of people are more dependent on it, so it can't go anywhere.
You think it could be the number 2 or the number 3 search engine based on the fact of how it's connected to the internet and all the things that it potential that it has?
No. It could become the number 1.
Really?
Sure.
That's scary. I mean, I guess that's realistic. It's a realistic assessment and assumption, but I can see how that could happen. In some ways, I would hope that it wouldn't, though.
No, it's going to happen. Matter of fact, not only is it going to happen, it has happened, because all your search engines and everybody else now incorporate AI into their fold, into their situation.
Do you always have to be the bearer of bad news, Carl? I mean, is that?
I try, man. I've been trying to come through for you. You know what I'm saying? I've been trying to, trying to come through. Give one for the team, hey.
One for the Gipper, huh? So, but I can't now. Tell me if you can see this, and I'm sure they'll try it. They've already had holographic performances of Whitney Houston and maybe Michael Jackson, but I don't want to go see a live performance that's AI, whether it's somebody I like or somebody that's new. I mean, AI has no soul. So they can't replace a soul. Now they can copy a soul sound, but do you think people are going to go to theaters to watch an AI performance?
Absolutely. It's pretty much the same as a lot of the music creators and producers and stuff like that don't have the same soul and grit as the old stuff that you had, the old material and stuff. Some of the stuff, I mean, when I can compare, I'm not even going to do it, but I can compare 2 vocalists, and you can hear the difference in their delivery. So it's just like with music and stuff like that. People will settle for the lesser of the 2. The bar just keeps getting lower and lower and lower. So therefore, yeah, I can see it.
Well, you know what, though? It's good and bad in certain ways. Obviously, it's good that technology can advance. I just hope that, it doesn't go sour or left as it possibly can as it relates to military or other industrial facets of life. But are you familiar with Val Kilmer, the actor, the guy who played Batman in one of the Batman movies? Blonde hair. He was also in this other movie as what was a Western movie? I said, "I'll be your Huckleberry." He had the some Western like.
I remember the line. Mm-hmm.
Right. So the guy.
Matter of fact, I have a friend that used that line every time.
So his name is Val Kilmer. In fact, he was also in Top Gun with Tom Cruise. He was one of the pilots. Anyway, he's going to be in a movie, but of course he died about 2 years ago. But he's going to be in the movie, and they're using AI for his character. And now the visuals, that's easy. Now I don't know how the lip sync is going to work out, if it's going to really come across well. So that's important. So that's why when I look at a performance, I'm like, can you lock it down?
Listen, the stuff that's available now seems to be doing a good job of handling all of that stuff. Because basically what you're really talking about is this version of CGI and all that other stuff like that they had in the past, when when you didn't have a spaceship and you wanted to be in outer space, you use CGI and all that other stuff. And some of the stuff is pretty good. I mean, I have quite a few things that the lip sync is pretty darn good, especially if you can give it a good sample of what it is that you want. But the stuff that I mean, him too. But the stuff that we're using, is nowhere in comparison to the stuff that they're using now, because the stuff that they're using, they was using 10, 15 years ago.
So they have an industrial version that's really so robust. Yeah.
That, now the not only the lips is syncing with the thing and the eyelashes and the description and stuff, and especially when you start using it and you start learning how to do the prompts and you get those accurate prompts. Yeah, I can see it being done. The whole movie without any of the actors, I can see it being done.
And that's the thing. It's like, on one hand, I could see having the opportunity to appreciate the creativity on that level. But on another level, or another way of looking at it, I see it as not wrong, but shame. It's a shame that the opportunity to perform your craft will be taken away from you because technology has gotten so good. I think that's it's not necessarily wrong. It's just unfortunate, very unfortunate, in my opinion.
Listen, I equate that to the token booth people on the trains here in New York. Years ago, I would go to the token booth guy or person, and I need some token to get on the train, and they would point to the machine, and I'd be like, really? All right. I go to the machine. Now I go back to the station. The token booth is empty. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't train you, right?
The token booth is empty. Now the only way that you can get it is you go to the machine. So it's pretty much the same thing,
you stand there and figure it out. I don't care if you missed your train.
But still it's the whole thing is cost effective.
For the city,
I know China it's just like the music stuff. There was a time that I had to get all the musicians together to go to the studio.
Right.
And then you got to try to get them to play what you wanted them to play, and then you got to try to get them not to have a fight in the middle of the studio, in the middle of your session, and that whole 9 yards. Now you sit home and you put it all together, in your house. So kind of the same thing. So it's I can see.
Go ahead.
I can see it being done. AI generated and stuff like that.
See, that leads me to our next agenda topic, loot fish. I think you and I spoke about this quite some time ago. How as long as we're no more than 500 miles apart, we can get together and record or rehearse in your home. I'll be here. I'll be in DC. You'll be in New York. We have somebody else maybe in Virginia, someone in Connecticut, and as long as we're no more than 500 miles apart, we can also have rehearsal.
You said what? Luke fish?
Lute fish.
Oh, loot. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. No, I got a thing. It's Jack Trip.
And then there's another one, Jam Kazam.
Yeah. But no, you can in real time, low latency.
Yeah,
rehearse and go through. I mean, well, you think about it. We're holding a conversation, and you're in the DMV, and I'm up here in the city,
Yeah.
and we're holding a conversation in real time. So it's amazing.
So what is the software or the device that you know of that does the same thing that Lootfish and Jam Kazam does? What is the name of that one?
Jack Trip.
Now, with that, under that process, does everyone have to have a particular device? How does it work?
Oh, well, yeah, you'd have to have a decent interface, sound
You have to have
interface.
an interface. Okay.
Well, you have to have a decent interface. Well, you don't have to have an interface, but the latency will be horrible without the interface, because the
internet.
Interface, well, both, but the interface is where the process, your computer will process the sound so that it would be clean and clear and low latency. Then from that, it's sent over the internet. Now one person has to have an account or a paid account, and everybody else doesn't have to have it.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, and then I think it's like $100 a year or something like that for an account. And the account, if you actually, it's free. It's free, but you have a 45-minute session. When you pay for the account, it's 6-hour sessions.
Oh, nice. That's not bad.
No, it's great. I just don't have anybody to do it with. It's fantastic. I had this thing for maybe 8 years.
Oh, so maybe we need to do a test with that. We need to test that out, because that may help out with some things that we're planning on doing down the line. Because if you can be online without having to physically be here, if it works well enough, you can be online without having to physically be here. That could work. Has a good potential to work for us, man.
Even the band, Leon's band, they was talking about this, recently, about trying to hook that up and stuff like that. But you can do that, or sessions, or whatever the case may be, in real time, and it's not expensive at all. Like I said, I think it's free, but they're 45 minutes, and then you can.
Oh, you said 6 hours. What do you mean 45 minutes? So I don't get it.
No, well, it's free, and you get 45 minutes, I think.
Oh,
but
okay.
you can, you do 45 minutes. You can go back and do another 45 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it's 45 minutes straight, but you can just, so it's the same thing with the 6 hours. You can do 6 hours, and then you go back and you do 6 hours again, and you go back. I think it's 6 hours.
So, we're talking about technology and some of the different apps that are available on the internet and ways of communicating. What are your thoughts on, now I know you said you think people will check out AI shows, performances, movies, music performances, and things like that. Now, what are your thoughts on having an AI engineering, or mastering?
It's already done.
I mean, I know it's done, but is that something? What are your thoughts on it, though? Like, would you cater to it? Would you use? I've used it before with some of my companies that I work with. I prefer live, but what are your thoughts?
I think it would work. I think it's good. It depends on who's using it and what you're trying to get out of it. Most people are just trying to get it so that it'll match other people's material, or the material that's out there, so that their stuff will play. It won't take, at least right now, until you train the AI to listen, but it won't take the place of a human doing it, because a lot of times, the technical things, you can program, but the human stuff, you just can't program it. Like, let's say, the technical thing is that you shouldn't have this much bass, but the human thing is you sitting there, listen to it, you just push the fader up, and that it sounds great. So,
well, from my experience, I think it sounds good. You can have a loud mix or a moderate mix, or of course a low mix, but I don't think it'll really replace humans, because there's something about the human ear. Now, the only way that it will challenge a human engineer is if there's a standard, and that standard is programmed into the AI, depending on the company. The company that I used, it worked. It's just that, is it at the level that industry standards, and are the songs, if I go to a different engineer for one project, okay, is the AI version of mixing and mastering the same as what I did when I went to go see the guy down the street at the studio, or downtown at the studio? And that's where the issue is going to come into place. So unless there's an industry standard that's programmed into the AI, I prefer a live person myself, because I've done it, but it's nothing like that live human touch, That's just from what I've experienced.
Well, first of all, the acceptance of what is being pumped out, or what is being accepted, is so
Subjective?
low,
Okay.
that all you really need to do is just pump it up loud. That's what everybody thinks that the mastering is that you pump that up loud. But there isn't any standard, because from even one person to another, the master would be different. The sound would be different. You know what I'm
Well, let me
saying?
ask
There
you
isn't
this.
there isn't any standard. Go ahead.
Is there, or can there, or should there be a standard? Because if you listen to classical versus jazz versus R&B and hip hop, their levels, I mean, from your ear, because you've got an ear, you've worked different venues, you've been around various musicians and different music styles. The performances of different music genres sometimes have a different intensity. What's your thoughts on, the classical, the jazz, the R&B, the soul, pop, whatever? Are some genres more aggressive than others? That finished
Um,
product,
yeah, the finished product. What happens is, the newer the genre is, the less, what would be the word for it? What would be the word for it? The less that they worry about fidelity.
Really?
Yes, because
Wow.
what happens is, it's like with jazz and classical and stuff, it's all about fidelity. It's all about, being able to hear the piccolo in the back, being able to hear the string over here, the placement in the speakers, so that, wherever you play it, you get the feel of the surround, and sounds and stuff like that. Whereas the more commercial stuff, or like you said, rock and hip hop and stuff, it's just about being loud. So the only standard is depending on who's listening to it. So if let's say, if I was a rapper, or if I was a rap connoisseur who liked to hear fidelity, then it would my mix or my master wouldn't be so loud. It would be wide. It would have instruments all behind, instruments all over the place. But because the standard is loud as you can get it, as hard as you can get it, as loud as you can get it, because if you want your stuff to compete or play with anybody else, it's about as being as loud as you want to get it. See, I'm not trying to get as loud as that. I want some fidelity. I want you to hear at least some. Now it's got to be loud, but I'm not going for, because the louder it gets, you lose sound. It crushes. You lose the way the sound projects out of the speaker. It's just thrown at you. It is just thrown at you. Yeah, it's just thrown at you. Because what happens is that you get louder and louder and louder. So you have this much space. Music goes like
waves,
right? And you got sometimes it's like this, then it goes like this, and then you get the high. It's like, whereas the music now is the width of this whole thing straight.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I've literally seen.
And not only is the width of the whole thing straight, but if you really, really was to look at it, the sound was up here and down here at the bottom, but it's being cut off and it's all solid going across.
Yep.
So that you don't have any. There isn't any like changes or things. There is no room for the piccolo to come through.
You talk about piccolos, man. Like, people don't talk about piccolos anymore.
I know, because the mix is so daggone loud that you can't even hear the quiet part.
I know that's
even
right.
when the quiet parts come, it's just so loud. It's so loud, and then they use the compressor to try to squash it so that because it's too loud and it gets distorted, so they squash it so that it can come out the speaker altogether.
And whatever happened to surround sound?
Well, it's again, so you would be surprised how low those recordings are, so that you can hear all the different stuff. You can hear the nuances and the changes and
music come from here to here and back there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But once you start compressing it, once you start squeezing it together so that you can get it as loud as you can, well, you don't get that separation anymore.
Now, have you heard? I'm trying to think of this guy's name. I don't know if it was oh God. Excuse me, 6 minutes, not Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick. I think Slick Rick's got a show coming up. I don't know if it's in DMV, if it's in New York City, but with a live band. Like, I've heard Big Daddy Kane in person with a live band. And what are your thoughts on hip hop with a live band?
Works.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, a lot of the old, like UTFO and a lot of those guys, they've had bands. Nice. Run DMC. Run DMC was playing with Aerosmith for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So, it works. It works. It works really well.
Yeah, I think there's this, and if you have any kind of stage presence, I think it's really cool, because when I saw Big Daddy Kane in the DMV, he was in Charles County in the outside performance, and if you have any kind of stage presence, again, he was like, he technically may not have been conducting the band, but his stage presence presented itself as if he was like, and that just adds to the excitement of a good show, which is the train of thought in the school that I come from. When you think about bands in the old days, guys sitting on the stage smoking a cigarette and he's doing whatever he's doing, and it's this a good look, as well as the audible, the sound. it's just incredible to realize that, yeah, all these samples came from instruments, and now you have rappers using live bands to play what was sampled from a live instrument anyway. So, yeah, it's really
Where it came
interesting.
from. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, man. Do you think now I know this project may not, your current project may not have it. Is that something that you would entertain, having a feature, as they call it, or collabo with a rapper on any of your material?
I mean, I would, it would be, I mean, I would collaborate, with a lot of people. The problem is getting people to collaborate, with and stuff. And you know what I'm saying? It's like, most people now they're doing their own thing, their own way. So it gets kind of
How
hard.
about this? Here's 50, 75, maybe $100. Give me a verse. The song's about blah, blah, blah. Give me a verse, then go about your business.
Well, I mean, yeah, but no, he should get his share, stuff like that. But it's just kind of hard. It's just kind of hard to pull that off, because, like I said, most people they got their own perception of how things are going to go, or what they want to do, and the way that they want to do it. And for instance, if I was going to collaborate with a rapper, I don't want no cursing on my stuff.
No cursing.
The moment they no cursing. That's right.
Oh, come on,
the moment. Nah. See, the moment they step in the booth, so therefore,
what?
Well, yeah. The moment they step in the booth, so therefore, and some of them are great. I've run into a lot of
one. What?
Yeah, no.
I'm only kidding.
No. You know what I'm saying? So and their thing is they gotta keep whatever it is that they keep their thing real. They gotta keep whatever gets them popular to go, to do whatever. But
you gotta keep it a buck. Nah, me. I was rapping with Carl T. Smith. We did the effing thing, my man. Yo, man. I hear Carl spit a verse. What? I
got a pass. So I got to do the rap myself. That's it.
Is that a hard pass? No, let me stop.
that's a definitely hard pass.
I know that's right. Yeah, I think I've had the opportunity of collaborating with 3 rappers, of course, 3 different songs. And it was all clean. Thank goodness for me, I didn't ask them to do clean, but I'm glad that that's how they did it, because the song basically requested it because of the type of songs it was. A Just Life, a song about missing my brother and him not being there. Without You, that one probably could have gone there, but the person who did the rap, he did 2 different songs, but that's not his style. Another one, Everybody Knows, I had a rap verse on one version, which you're familiar with that because you did a mix for me on that. And then I most recently did a song on the current album actually called We Don't, with another DMV rapper. And again, no profanity. It's not necessary that you have to curse all the time. It's not.
I mean, I get it, because it lends to the style. It lends to the execution and all that other stuff. I get it.
Do singers curse? Yeah, I don't know.
Listen, I when I had the studio, there was a client that came in, and they was doing R&B, and man,
okay,
she cursed like a sailor. I said, listen, there's no cursing in R&B. She says, yes, it is. And then proceeded to curse.
She said, yes, the F it is.
Yeah, right. That's what she said. And proceeded to curse the whole session. I was like, wow, okay. And I learned something then.
How was the song? Was it a good song?
it was okay. It was
If
okay.
you were not opposed to the cursing, was it still a good song?
It was okay. Yeah,
Okay.
it was all right.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't. Yeah. I mean, I hear some stuff and it got cursing in it, and I like it. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? So
really?
I mean, it's not even. Yeah. It's not even about the cursing. It's just
Looking
that,
out the window.
it's just about preference, stuff like that. But I hear some stuff that I'm like, yeah, okay. I heard some stuff earlier today. And I was like, yeah, okay. I can rock with this by
Yeah.
myself. That kind of thing. But
So, what do you like better? Recording, or live performances?
there is no better. I like both. I guess I'll say recording because
Greedy.
I can do it at will.
Yeah.
I can do it whenever I want to. Live performance, I gotta get people. That's the whole thing. I gotta get people together. I gotta try to set this thing up. I gotta, it's just a coordination kind of thing. But
If you didn't have to do all that, and they say, Carl, we got an audience, you can perform any of your songs, or you can go in the studio and just go ahead and record whenever you're ready. Would you choose? Which one would you choose?
I don't know. It'd be kind of hard for me to choose. I like them both.
Yeah,
I guess I'll say recording because then I would be able to just do whatever it is that I want to do for as long as I want to do it, and and don't have the hassle of trying to pull it together or wait until it's pulled together, depending on who's doing it.
Oh, I think I asked you the question wrong. Do you like preparing for a recording or preparing for a live engagement better? I asked the question wrong.
Do I like prepare? I don't want to prepare for none of that. But I don't know. For recording, I don't have to prepare so much. Depending on
Yes, you do.
Nah,
you gotta think about the words or your key, and if your throat is clear.
No, I don't have to prepare that much for a recording.
So you've been a prodigy all your life.
No, not a prodigy. Just not a prodigy. Just it's one of those things where you just turn on everything, and then you start laying it down, and then you go, oh, okay, this might work. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas you got to prepare, you got to know at least one song that you're going to do so that you can organize a band or get into a band or organize to play something. So I guess then I have to say recording.
Okay. Yeah, I can relate to that. I think I guess it's selfish, but the benefit of having your own studio, and even though you said having your own gear sometimes is the blessing and the curse, is that
and then the curse, man.
Get
no sleep.
You can record anytime you want to.
Get no sleep, man. We'll be up all night tonight.
Yeah,
1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. You going to bed at 1 o'clock? You ain't hanging.
Yeah, I know. So you can't hang, but a good point though. Really good point. So now I know you use I don't know. Let me ask this. Apple or a regular PC preference?
PC.
Really?
You didn't like that answer.
Yeah, when you gonna get with the program, man? Let me stop.
No, never, ever.
Didn't you used to build computers?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Listen, yeah. I did everything that I had to do so that I can play music. Couldn't afford to buy the computer that I needed, but was able to get something and then convert it to whatever I needed. So I had whatever it is that I needed to do to to be able to do music,
Yeah.
I did it. That's it.
Now, I wasn't as advanced as you were, but when I first had PCs, I had PCs up until around 2008. And I must admit, I enjoyed the ability to add RAM, change additional storage, add different things, components, accessories to my PC. And even when I switched from PC to Apple, in the beginning years, I enjoyed to be able to continue doing it, even though it's a little different with Apple. But now, good luck with the Apple computer that you can add anything to. So you better go in knowing what you want so that you don't have to have buyer's remorse or, just wish I could have, whatever. So
Right.
the only thing I can do now, get the best computer I can from Apple, and I use a lot of external hard drives so that I can back up anything I need and
Mhm.
not make my computer work harder than it has to work. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's my safe haven, my go-to. Now, what is your thing over Pro Tools, Logic, Fruity Loops, or Cubase? What's your preference, or what do you like out of those?
Well, I'm gonna say Cubase. I use a thing called the window,
That's
which is
old. Nobody
Cubase.
uses that anymore. What else? Go
No,
ahead.
no, I use it.
I'm gonna mess with you.
I use it. And the reason why, as a matter of fact, I was just talking about this not about maybe a day or so ago.
Uh-huh.
I have a friend named Eddie who I used to fix his computer. Actually, I got to call him. He asked me to come fix his computer. Though I have a newer version of Cubase, but what happens with the software is
Uh-huh.
the plugins and stuff don't work anymore. As you
Hold on.
as you upgrade.
Hold on. The plugins from back in the day, or what do you
Plugins
what
back
do you
in
mean?
the day. Listen, I had a version of Cubase that I was running on XP,
Okay.
and there was a drum plugin called an RM3, which
I
allowed
still
me to put.
remember.
Listen, we was just talking about this the other day, which allowed me to put in. It had like 12 slots, and it allowed me to put in 12 sounds per slot.
Right.
So I developed a library that was killer.
Ah, nice.
So the software, everything went from, I made the mistake of upgrading to
Upgraded.
ME. Yeah, to ME. And when I
Millennial.
upgraded
Yeah.
to ME, RM3 was gone.
Oh
It
man.
wouldn't work in RM3s. And then it happened again in ME. So once again, the same thing happened. I had everything set, everything was ready to go. I said, okay, if I upgrade, then this is going to be hot because I got the sounds with the upgrade is going to be happening, and the
It
plugins
wasn't
don't work.
happening.
The plugins don't work. So I'm using the same software, though I do have newer software. I do have, Cubase, newer Cubase, and I think I got Cakewalk and quite a few other things. But I'm using the same new window that I've been using since 2004.
I know it's just slow to upload.
No,
Really?
no, because it not only that though, there's a whole nother issue too that I can't be bothered with the other things. But no, it doesn't load up slow because it's running the same programs the same way.
With all the same third-party apps and everything.
The same, right, But the other problem is also everything now is a subscription.
Oh my God,
You see,
about it.
back then you bought the software, I got the disc. I got the disc, you got the code, you got the everything, and you got it. It's yours. Now everything is a subscription. So
See, that's
you
the
end
thing
up
I like. Yeah.
you end up paying 3 times the amount of money for the same software that you would have paid for if you would have just bought it outright. But you can't even buy it
So,
outright.
so you said that you do have a newer version, but you just haven't uploaded it.
I
Is
have
that,
it, I loaded it, and never touched it again.
is that a subscription one, the new one?
It's a subscription one. But
Yeah,
I loaded
I mean,
it.
I understand. I totally agree. That's why I walked away from Pro Tools, as well as I am so glad that when I bought Logic, I bought it before they were even thinking about subscription. And now, if you buy Logic, it's a subscription, and you can have Logic for your iPad. I don't want that on no iPad, first of all. And second of all, I'm grandfathered in because it's on my account. So any Apple computer I buy, I can just download the same Logic I've been having,
Right.
because that subscription is for the birds.
Right. See, and that's the whole thing is that I don't want to have to go to the web to install it on my machine, you know. And then, you know, like I said, with the newer version, because how I decided that I'm not even looking at it. I have it on a different hard drive, so I can switch hard drives. And
So you can
and
make
that's right. And I'm not even looking at it because as I loaded up the software, the plugins that I had didn't work.
Ooh.
So I'm like, oh,
You forget
not
that.
even bothering with it. Matter of fact, I haven't even fired up. I hadn't switched that to that hard drive in, I don't know, maybe 2 years now. I need to check and make sure it still works.
So what's next, like as far as software? What DAW would you use if you had to beyond Cubase? Or what's closest to it that's convenient for you?
I don't know. I haven't used anything since.
I've seen Cakewalk once. I've never used it, but I've seen it.
I
just
got
don't know much
it.
about it.
I got it. It's not a bad software. It's
Okay.
not a.
Is it also a subscription?
It is, but it's free.
Okay, it can't be a free subscription.
Yeah, Cakewalk. Well, yeah. With Cakewalk, I believe at least the last time I checked, it was free. You know, Cakewalk was a free software. But
man, this was really interesting, man. Yeah, I know not everyone, but a lot of people rave over Fruity Loops, of course, Pro Tools, the industry standard, whatever. I know there's a ton of major artists that have used other DAWs, especially Logic, such as Billie Eilish, Chuck Brown, what's that? Little Nas X, rather. I mean, the list goes on and on. So I think people just like trends and fads. Oh, I'm proficient in that. Well, you paid a proficient subscription too, okay?
oh, it's true.
Because I'm not interested in that. And it's not just that the subscription, because Pro Tools is good, but I just don't like feeling like you're just taking advantage of me because you can. You know, it's just like instead of back in the day, they used to say right on, and right on changed to what's up. So if what's up was a subscription, everybody was saying what's up versus right on. So, you know, I'm gonna say right on till I'm dead.
See, that's me.
right
on. Right on. Right on what? Right on.
Right on, right on.
Right on, my brother. Right on.
You already know. Yo, hold on, man. We're going to talk about some things off screen. But folks, we've been talking to Carl Smith, and he's been talking to me, and we've been talking about technology. We've been talking about AI and things that are happening. What's up lately in entertainment, especially with music in this particular episode. So if you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to post your comments, whether you agree, you don't agree, you know, you like what we're talking about. We'll get back to you as soon as humanly possible. And with that being said, until the next time, be part of the energy. I didn't even put any banners up, y'all. No banners this entire show. But what does it say? Be part of the energy. Until next time. See ya.